Liverpool not won here in the Premier League in a decade. You've come and done it at the first attempt. Let's start with the how. How did you do it today?
By scoring a set piece. If you want to win a big game, at least what you need is a neutral set piece balance or score one and not concede. That's what we did, and we defended. Yeah, if you come here, you have to defend. We defended really well with so many players constantly around the ball, and that's why we could keep them away from big chances, because that they will have ball possession is clear. But you have to make sure that they can't create as much as they normally do.
Who deserves credit for the set piece? It looked, if you don't mind me saying, a little bit Bournemouth inspired. They scored one against Arsenal earlier in the season that I think you might have taken note of.
Yeah, now you tell me, I remember that one. It wasn't inspired by that. It's not me. It's we as a group of people look at how the setup is, and then in this situation, someone came up with a brilliant plan. It wasn't me, and and we knew that space could be there, and we trained it yesterday, and now because of a deflection, it went in, and that's so helpful, because it wasn't that we were dominating the game.
It's quite an interesting tactical matchup, particularly at the beginning. It looked like City did something different with Foden up top, maybe sacrificing control in midfielders for attacking players. And you did something different as well with kind of 2 10s. So what was the thinking, and how did you feel that played out?
No, first half played out better for them than for us, apart from the score, of course, because we were 2-0 up, but they were dominating the game. I felt also in the first half that, not that they had that many big chances, but it felt as if they could score any moment, because we weren't really comfortable. And then we could set it up at halftime a bit clearer what we wanted from the players. And that helped us, I think, a lot, because in the second half, I cannot remember them having a big chance.
So did you feel like overall that you controlled it and managed it as you wanted, or just from what you're saying there, that actually they kind of forced you back more than you wanted?
Ideally, we have the ball more than the other team. That's what we are till now, maybe every single game we've played. But City is, when it comes to ball possession, the most difficult one to play against, because they like it a lot, and they have players that are so comfortable on the ball. So I told before the game, the only chance you have to win here is you defend really well. So yes, we try to play as good as we can with the ball. But if we're not on top of our game defensively, you have no chance to win here, because they're too comfortable with the ball.
Okay, so that's kind of the how. Let's get to what it means. What does it mean? Because it feels, with what happened yesterday with Arsenal, like a huge weekend, like the weekend we might all look back on and say, yeah, that's where they clinched it.
Yeah, 3 days ago we had a draw at Villa, and people told me we were not in a good place. And now, for all of a sudden, 3 days later, it's exactly the opposite again. I know what we have to do to win our games. You could see it today, how hard we had to work. And there are 11 games to go, and if these players are able to keep on working this hard, we have a chance. Let that be clear. But like I said, we work every single day so hard to achieve this, that it's 3 months of very hard work to hopefully keep the results going as they are now.
So like you said, 11 games to go, 11 points clear. What is the key to managing it? You've done it before. You've won a title in Holland. So what's the secret?
Actually, there's not such a big secret. It's what I just said. We're 11 points clear, but Arsenal has 1 game in hand. So, what we did today, work as hard as we can and play the football in certain moments. We did really well today as also, I think, the best attack we had didn't end up in a goal. That started right with Trent and ended with Trent with an overlap. So it was a great attack, and you always have to adapt to the challenge you got. So if you play City away, it's a totally different challenge than if you play Plymouth Argyle away or Wolves at home. So a week ago, we experienced how difficult Wolves at home was. So 11 games to go, and they will all be difficult like the one today.
So it sounds like your job is, like we'd call it, keeping a lid on it. You know, media gets excited, you're going to get loads of questions about it. The fans get excited. You can't, the players can't, because you're the ones who've got to go out and get the results.
No, but it's also easier for us not to get excited, because we know what fans just simply look at the 2 goals we scored and like, wow. And they don't look at all the work rate we've done to get this result, because this result was more about defense than it was about attack. So that's why it's normal for fans, every fan base that from a team that's leading the league, they are positive And it's up to us to understand why we are where we are, and these boys know really well, I think.
Well done today. Well played. Feels, Mo, like not just a really significant day, but a really significant weekend. How big a result do you think that is?
It's incredible. It's a very hard place to come and play here. Tough team. They have an incredible manager. They dominate the game. I think they can dominate any game here. But I'm glad in the end we managed to win the game.
How did you do it, Dom? Particularly interested actually in your role, because it looked like yourself and Curtis Jones almost like both false nines or both as tens.
No, that was the plan. We played with 2 tens. Yeah, as Mo said, yeah, they managed the game almost 90%. So, but at the end, the result is for us, and we are happy to take the 3 points home.
Even though they dominated a lot of the ball, did you kind of feel in control of it? Did you feel sort of fairly safe, like you were managing them pretty well?
Well, we were defending on our probably 30 meters from our goal. But yeah, we just gave everything. We knew that's going to happen, and yeah, it's part of the game. Sometimes you don't have always the ball, especially against City away. So yeah, but yeah, as I said, happy to take the 3 points.
So Mo, they've caused you a lot of pain over the years, and to be fair, you've caused them some as well. But what does it mean to come here and win?
It's special, to be fair, especially when you're running to the title race. It's incredible. They won like 4 in a row now. It's an incredible team. But hopefully we just keep calm, because sometimes the pressure get into us. So hopefully we just keep calm and just play our game and try to win each game.
Is that key, Dom, that you stay calm now? You heard the fans at the end singing, "We're going to win the league." I can tell you that us in the media are going to get a bit giddy. You guys have got to go out and win, what, 7, 8, 9 more games. So you're the ones that have to stay cool.
I didn't hear it. I was so tired. So
you are exhausted, aren't you?
No, we have to keep going. It's gonna be a tough game home against Newcastle, and then yeah, as you said, 11 more games to go. It's never end. So we have to keep calm. We have to keep going. We have to take the games by game, and yeah. At the end, hopefully, we're going to be on the top.
Just tell us about your contribution today. I'd say you're one of the unsung heroes of this team, but a really nicely weighted flick to make the corner routine happen, and then a goal of your own as well.
No, he just said it was not the best assist. I gave it to him.
What?
The ball was not supposed to come in that area.
Oh, well, I mean...
No, I'm kidding.
No, yeah. Yeah, we practiced it yesterday, and... yeah, hopefully we can do it even more times. Finally, he could also find me. It's not happened all the time. But yeah, I'm happy to score also and give him an assist.
Yeah, he's having a little dig back there, Mo, isn't he?
He's still a kid, so I wouldn't give him back, so it's fine.
Do you know what? I've run out of questions for you, really. But you're now at 30 goals for the season, all competitions, 5th time in 8 seasons. Are you better than ever?
I don't know. It's opinion. Maybe people prefer my first season. People prefer now, but I think I prefer now because it's just winning the league, you doing your best, and helping the team, helping young players as well. It's incredible. Yeah, probably this year. Yeah.
Do you need another title? And does it feel close now?
I wouldn't say it feels close. It's just like we need another title for sure. Me and the big guys here in the team, we need another title. But yeah, we'll give it our best and we'll give it a good shot, and we'll see.
Well done today. Player of the match amid some controversy and a slightly angry some other slide. Mo Salah.
Again, thank you. Thank you.
But he's the match awards himself, hasn't he? I think, Daniel, one of the features, it feels like, of this run towards the title for Liverpool is how they have managed to keep stress away, to keep nerves completely out of the picture. It looks so effortless at times today.
I think the calmness of the manager and the experience of the spine of the team, the experienced players that they've got in Alice and Verge, Mo, who have been in these moments, many times. Obviously, they've failed at times coming here as well. And throughout the season, I think they've performed unbelievable. They've been consistent. And I think that's not a trait that is respected a lot of the time, because I think sometimes, when you're talking about the best players in teams, sometimes they're top, sometimes they're not. But when you're looking at the big names for Liverpool, the goalkeeper when he's been playing, Verge has been a revelation this season, and Mo's numbers, I mean, he's on a record pace right now. So you have to say to them that even though the players are older, it seems as if they're like fine wine, baby. They're just getting better as time goes on. So give them a lot of credit. And the manager, what he's done to come into the squad, into the club, and get the squad to play his style and almost take on his personality in terms of how calm they are in games. They seem to stick to his game plan quite often. Today, the tactics were different. But again, they come out here, they do whatever they need to do, and as you said, they adapt. So I'm really impressed.
Spearheaded by a sensational season from Mo Salah, as Patrick was alluding to in the questions, and we'll come on to talk about just what an extraordinary year it's been for Mo. Yeah, from someone else to come from the pack.
No, I think if Arsenal had a fully fit squad, maybe, but no Saka, losing Havertz. I mean, I just don't have anyone at top. I think if you look at Arsenal probably kicking himself in January that they didn't bring anyone in. Of course, you don't know you're going to get injuries. But I just think this Liverpool team can adapt. They've played the heavy metal football and then they go back to playing a low block and then can counter-attack. I think everything about this team is just sensational. It's finding a way to win. And at times I've watched Liverpool this season, I don't think they've been scintillating. I don't, but I think they've managed their moments really well. Daniel talked about the key players in the team. The spine is incredibly good and they hardly get injured. That is a main factor. Jamie talked about Liverpool before and Van Dijk, that season when they didn't compete, he was injured. But when you've got someone like that at the back, it makes a massive difference. You can just see the confidence oozing out of him. And we'll talk about Mo Salah a bit later.
Their star men turn up every week.
Correct.
Their star men turn up every week. That's what you need. And you obviously need a helping hand along the way. But the only thing we keep saying, we're looking at Arsenal and go, Arsenal needs to do better, but you need other teams to do better. You can't just keep looking at Arsenal to be them challengers. They've obviously come up short and maybe, again, missing that striker. But it's up to the other teams and some of the other top teams to start competing. I know we've been critical of Arsenal for slacking off recently, but you need one or two other teams to compete as well.
Last few years, what Liverpool have done, or the quality players that they've got, and how good a team they've been, they haven't won enough. And I'm not criticising them really. Just the competition's been so strong. And you look at Manchester City, arguably, 4 titles in a row, winning a treble, a domestic treble as well. Arguably the greatest sort of Premier League team we've seen, or certainly era, is Pep Guardiola, and that's what this Liverpool team have come up against. And when you actually look at what they've won, it isn't enough, or maybe you could frame it a different way. They probably deserved a little bit more. I mean, they've lost, I think, at least 2 Champions League finals, lost the Premier League on the last day of the season twice as well, with sort of record numbers in terms of points. So, yeah, I think what Mo Salah said there as well, legacy-wise in terms of winning things, because you've got to think of the club that you play for. This is a club who's got as good a history as probably any club in world football. So you talk about putting these players up against, the goalkeeper up against Ray Clements, or Virgil van Dijk up against Alan Hansen. These guys have won 6, 7 titles.
Could this team do that, Jim? Do you think if he keeps some of the star men there, obviously recruitment again in the summer, that they could try and win it for the next 2? They look at City and think City might need a year or 2 to rebuild themselves. Is that the challenge now for this team?
Yeah.
You win the league, kick on for the next 2 or 3 years.
You know that better than anybody about winning and going again. I do think Liverpool were a little bit unfortunate the year they won the league. Van Dijk gets the big injury, a cruciate, something that's hard to sort of replace. But what I would say is an exciting thing for Liverpool is Slot didn't buy any. He hasn't bought anyone really. They brought Chiesa in at the last minute to try and maybe cover Salah if he was injured. Now, he's going to know this squad a lot better going into next season. And if I'm being honest, he only ever uses 14 or 15 players. There's probably 4 or 5 players he doesn't rate in the squad. I'm not being critical, but he's probably thinking, OK, now I know what this team needs. And even though this team's going to go on and win the league title, I still think there's 3 positions in this team that can be improved quite a bit. It's not about bringing 4 or 5 players in and squad players and improving the team or a certain area.
What positions would you say?
I think Liverpool could bring a left back in. I think they can bring a centre forward in and an attacking midfield player who I'm talking about actually going into the team, in sort of 3 areas, and then maybe improve, certain areas of the squad as well. So that's pretty exciting, and you would imagine Liverpool would have money to spend, because as I said, they haven't spent anything in the last couple of years.
He said this week, actually, I think Arne Slot, that he knows now, they know now which areas of the team they want to target in the...
Then those derby games, you never know what can happen in those types of games there. Fulham have been playing exceptional. Newcastle, they're playing against teams that, even though some of them are going to be fighting for European places, and then there's other teams in there that, when players are just playing free, and it's like, we've not really got much to play for outside of just showing ourselves and playing well. It goes the other way as well, in that at times those teams aren't necessarily, at their best. But for me, they're going to win 7 or 8 of those games. If we're being real, they're going to win 7 or 8 of those games. The key is how they do it You know, they don't have to win in the great way of scoring 4 or 5 or whatever. It's just great if it's a 1-0, it's a 1-0.
This is what we used to do at United. We were obviously with 10, 11, 12 games to go. The manager would remind players, particularly the strikers, you score 2 goals a game, now you win the league.
What was that mentality like when you're going for it, when you got that lead?
Obviously, listen, it's more exciting for the neutral if it's a bit tight, but for you in a dressing room, when you're that much clear, it's fantastic. And you think you're 11, but a couple of days later, you want to be further ahead. You just want to give that.
So are you sort of creating your own sort of paranoia that 11 is not enough?
Oh, yeah, you have to have that. You have to have that. I suppose that you're a bit of tension in the dressing room. Say, listen, particularly if you start looking at stats, you think if you slip up now, you'd be a laughing stock. So you keep yourself. You're looking at the players there getting interviewed afterwards, and obviously they're probably low key a little about it. But in the dressing room, you know what a big result is. The manager knows, the opposition will know, but you still let them have to kick on. And
but did you tell the players that as a captain, when I just keep your head, or what sort of environment?
You would be reminding people, but about being complacent and being on your toes. You'd have a good squad members, and obviously the manager would do it. The senior players would do it. You make sure you don't slack off in training. Or you look at some of the fixtures there, for example, and you're thinking you're playing Southampton at home, but you treat Southampton like you're playing Real Madrid. You treat teams with respect. And if they carry on doing what they're doing, then they don't have to. Liverpool don't have to do anything extraordinary. Just do what they're doing, be efficient. The 2 goals a game is a big one. It's a kind of simple message going. You get them, which you've been doing all season anyway, at least 2 goals a game. You're guaranteed to win the league.
I think when you're speaking, and I'm speaking, because you're speaking about the team that you support, you're always thinking, oh, I don't want to say that in case it comes back and haunt me. But if Man City were in that position or Arsenal in that position,
it's done.
It's done.
I've said that.
I know.
So come on, have a bit of conviction.
I do think it's done. And it's not just because of the league. My point being is, what you've got to remember is this Liverpool team have only really lost 1 game of any significance, which was Nottingham Forest. They lost in the Champions League in the dead rubber. They lost in an FA Cup when they changed the whole team. And they lost in a first leg against Tottenham, which was basically half-time. The tie wasn't over. So really, when you go through the season, this is a team who just don't lose games. And Arsenal, I think if Arsenal have got a fully fit team and Liverpool are fully fit, there's probably very little in it. If they played in a cup final, it's a toss of a coin. But with the injuries they've got, the players that they've had sent off, they've had a little bit of unfortunate times, at times their own fault, as yesterday was. But Arsenal aren't good enough. They've got Marino up front. He's a midfield player. You can't win the league with that. So I think, the lead and how good this Liverpool team has been, there's no one catching Liverpool.
We keep looking at teams, you go, that's a tough game. Everton's going to be tough. This was tough today. But they turn up.
Yeah.
Yep, they just keep on trucking.
I mean, you couldn't have worked it any better, could you? Because Slobber's touch was lovely. Mo didn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to. He's not leaning back. He gets over the ball. I mean, they get a bit of fortune with the deflection, but it worked perfectly well.
Yeah, and you heard him speaking there. He's hit 30 goals in all competitions, 5th time in his Liverpool career. I mean, you can appreciate those numbers. You can appreciate how difficult it is to get to those consistent numbers.
It's incredible. Consistency is unbelievable. I mean, yeah, what can you say about the lad? I mean, he's just a total machine. I mean, he never, ever gets injured. He's got a great attitude. Never hear a peep out of him. Of course, obviously, this contract situation is another thing. But in terms of playing, it's just been year after year after year, a constant source of goals. You know that he's, send him out there and he's virtually going to score in every game. It is quite incredible. And we joke about it. It is the hardest thing in football to score goals. And to do it consistently like he does, it's beyond, there's only a handful of people that can ever do it, let alone, can do it now. So, yeah, hats off to him. It's quite incredible.
His dedication to his job as well is really important. People speak about Cristiano Ronaldo, how he looks after himself, and Cristiano's a bit more in the public eye, doesn't he? The Mo is very reserved, and quiet and humble and stays out of the limelight. But his dedication to the sport and how he looks after himself and what he eats and what he puts in his body and how he recovers is really... And they could be playing at 37, 38, 39. So, they're teaching everybody below them the right lessons, how to really do well in this sport.
Yeah, and he just needs 1 more goal and he'll be in the top 3 of all-time Liverpool Football Club goal scorers. Now, our statistical department has been having a look at projected numbers here for Mo Salah this season. He's on 25 goals in the Premier League, projected to get 35, which would just be 1 short of Erling Haaland's record. Well, you can take the assists and the goal assists away from me, Michael. You're far more over that than I am. But he's on course, they think, to break the assists record and indeed the he's on course, they think, to break the assists record and indeed the assists and goals combined record.
Yeah. Let's hope he doesn't get injured then, because that'll be worthless, won't it? But yeah, I mean, it
depends. It's going to depend on
yeah.
what stage of the season, and if they're in the Champions League, and if they already sewn up the league, do you then rest him?
Do you start resting him?
All the best trying to do that when he's going for all those records.
I think it's more important to him that he gets all the trophies than the personal accolades, especially if it's 35 goals and someone's done it. I think he would rather be fit for the Champions League and get 30 goals than risk being injured. So, as I said, they're a great opportunity for him to etch his history, his bit in history, but I'm sure he's focused on the trophies.
And when he signed, if you'd said Mo Salah's going to be, in 8 seasons, in the top 3 Liverpool all-time record goal scorers, I mean...
If you'd said in the top 103, I wouldn't have probably believed you. I mean, genuinely, he wasn't a goal... You know, he was a really poor finisher at Chelsea, you know, at Basel before he came.
Roma.
At Roma, he started showing signs of scoring goals, which was unbelievable. But, I mean, you could argue that
Chelsea got him, so Liverpool have always been interested in him, so they've always saw something in him. But I don't think anybody, as a right winger, and that's what he is, he's a right winger, but he plays centrally, could envisage what he's done in this time he's been at Liverpool. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal numbers.
As soon as the ball went in, I thought, oh, Curtis Jones in an offside position there. If he's in the line of sight of the goalkeeper, it might be disallowed, but you can see he knows it himself. He puts his arms out as if to say, nothing to do with anything here, and he wasn't in the line of sight of the goalkeeper. So, yeah, but Mo Salah, good timing, good pace on the pass. Szoboszlai lets it come across his body, keeps it hard and low, and this is the angle where we see that Curtis Jones is not in line with the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper gets a perfectly good sight of it, and it's a fair goal.
He had a really good game, actually, Szoboszlai, didn't he? He had a goal and an assist. He nearly had another assist for Curtis Jones, but he was just slightly offside. But his energy levels were good. He's a very good runner, as we know. And there's no surprise that he was shattered at the end of the game when he said he was really tired. But I thought he had a really good game today. Very dedicated to the role, very organised. But when he wanted, he broke forward a lot.
And defensively, how mentally tiring is that in New City? And we saw them at the end, even 4 or 5. Powering forward on the break.
Yeah, it's very rare they waste runs, especially Mo Salah. I think we all give him credit for his finishing, his assist, his set-up play, but in terms of his timing of his runs and his willingness to do it, and he doesn't waste them. He doesn't think, oh, I'm just going to create space for someone else. He goes with the determination to get in and then contribute when he's there. So I think that's another factor to his game that is probably unnoticed because he scores so many goals.
Yeah.
Not too many positives for City today, as we know, but the return of Doku was one.
Yeah.
And he gave Trent Alexander-Arnold an uncomfortable afternoon, didn't he?
Yeah, very uncomfortable, but the scoreline would overshadow that. So that's an opportunity for me, from a personal ex-player's point of view. It's an opportunity to learn without the consequences of a defeat. I think I'd look at that and realise where could I improve. And as you said, from the first minute, Doku was getting at Trent in a variety of ways. And yeah, there could have been teammates that could have supported him and helped him out, but I still feel he could have helped himself out by creating a scenario where it was more predictable for a teammate. Like I said, you're not going to be able to tackle the winger or the forward every time, but what you can do is make it predictable, so your teammate behind you, if you can't hear you or you're not able to communicate and say, well, I'm showing him the line, so if he goes inside, you're there, or if I'm showing him inside and he goes line, you're there. So I think there was more than one opportunity covered him in regards to blocking crosses that would have looked a lot more worse for Trent.
They didn't do a lot wrong today, I thought, Manchester City. I thought they played OK, but you just knew they were just going to be short. You know, they were just going to fall short against Liverpool. They're a different team. If they have Rodri and Erling Haaland in, you know, they'd have had a good chance. But when you looked at the starting 11, you know, City played a lot better today than they did against Real Madrid. A lot better. They were more competitive. They kept the ball. You couldn't say like he had a bad game or he had a bad game. They were all very good. It's just that they were just lacking something that they're not the same potent City as they were last year or the year before. A lot of the lads look as if they're just getting a little bit old all at the same time. And then when you lose 2 players that you really rely on, it's a problem. It looks worse than it is.
Yeah, and there you go. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Michael, dribbled past 11 times, 10 by Jeremy Doku, and that's the most for 10 years in a Premier League game.
Quite a lot of success against your fullback, against Trent Alexander-Arnold. Why, as a group, really, and an attacking part of the team, why weren't you able to turn those good moments into something more?
I don't know. I think it's the final pass. Is the I don't know. It's a good question because obviously I passed a lot of times. Then the most important is to create something after that. I played some good balls in front of the goal. But obviously, yeah, we have to score. We have to score. So I have to analyze this game and see what I can do better and what we can do better as a team.
Jeremy Doku with Sean